Okay, so in this explainer, we're going to dive into a really fascinating question. How do modern military strategists actually plan for a world that's just getting more and more complex? We're going to see how they build these incredibly detailed playbooks for the future, and maybe more importantly, how they plan for those playbooks to fail.
Our source material kicks off with this really powerful idea. See, it's not just about moving pieces on a chessboard anymore. Today's challenges demand a whole new kind of leader. Someone who can act decisively for sure, but who can also wrestle with these massive strategic and ethical questions at the same time. So what does this new era of conflict actually look like? Well, that's the thing. It's not just one thing. It's pretty much everything, all happening at once.
And this slide just illustrates the sheer scale of the challenge perfectly. I mean, look at this. Planners are preparing for classic military stuff, like river crossings and mountain warfare, right alongside scenarios that sound like they're straight out of science fiction. We're talking runaway climate change, a world where truth itself is the battlefield, and even the possibility of a super intelligent AI. The modern battlefield, it turns out, is everywhere.
So how on earth do you handle that level of complexity? Well, planners create what they call model responses. Think of it as a playbook for pretty much any impossible scenario you can dream up. To see how this works, let's look at two radically different examples from the source.
First up, we've got a scenario that sounds traditional but is just absolutely brutal. How do you defend a mountain pass at 15,000 feet? The thing is, your enemy isn't just the opposing army. It's the mountain itself. It's the freezing cold, and it's the very air you're desperately trying to breathe.
And what's so interesting here is how the playbook breaks this massive problem down into manageable chunks. It's not just one big, scary challenge. It's a series of specific problems you have to solve. The environment, the logistical nightmare of getting supplies up there, the incredible strain on the human body, and the simple fact that you can barely move.
Okay, now let's pivot. Let's shift from a physical battlefield to a cognitive one. Here, the territory being fought over is our shared understanding of reality. The enemy isn't an army with tanks, it's an algorithm armed with a deepfake. And it's designed to make you doubt the very concept of truth.
And you can see the playbook is completely different. The battlefield is cognitive space. The weapons are AI and botnets. And the ultimate goal isn't to capture a hill, it's to restore public trust. Seeing these two scenarios side by side really shows you the incredible, mind-boggling breadth of modern strategic planning.
So, okay, we have these brilliant, super detailed plans for everything from frozen mountaintops to viral misinformation. But are they foolproof? Well, this is where our source document reveals a really crucial twist in the whole process. Every single model response in the source material, and I mean every single one, is immediately followed by a section called critical comments. This is essentially a built-in critique. It's a pre-mortem that's designed to aggressively poke holes in the plan, to find all the hidden assumptions and the inevitable blind spots before the plan ever meets reality.
So what kind of flaws are we talking about? Well, first, a lot of plans just assume they have perfect intelligence. But these critical comments are a constant reminder that the enemy gets a vote, right? They actively use deception. And even if you have perfect data, our own human biases can make us see what we want to see, not what's really there.
Next up, logistics. You know the saying, an army marches on its stomach? Well, a plan is only as good as its supply chain. The critiques constantly show how fragile these vital links can be. A single enemy strike, a bad storm, or even a political fallout with an ally can cut off the fuel and ammo and grind the most powerful military machine to a halt.
And then there's the human element. Playbooks can sometimes treat soldiers like perfect robots who just execute the plan. But the reality is that stress, fear, and sheer exhaustion are incredibly powerful forces. They wreck decision-making, they degrade physical performance, and they can unravel the best-laid plans when the pressure is really on.
And finally, even if you get your own house in order, you still have to coordinate with everybody else. The critiques highlight that trying to get different military branches, government agencies, international allies, and even NGOs to all work together seamlessly in a crisis, well, that's one of the biggest challenges of all.
So, if every single plan is inherently flawed, what's the point? What's the real mission here? The source suggests it's not actually about creating a perfect plan. It's about building a perfect process for thinking, especially when you're under pressure.
And this right here is the core takeaway. The best strategists don't just write a playbook. The moment they finish, they start trying to break it. They define the problem, they model a solution, and then, and this is the critical part, they relentlessly search for its flaws before the enemy gets a chance to. This mindset,
This constant cycle of adaptation and planning for failure, that's the real key to managing a world of unknowns.
And all of this leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In this new, complex era of conflict, maybe true strategic advantage doesn't come from having a flawless plan. Maybe it comes from the humility to know your plan is flawed from the start and the wisdom to ask the critical questions that will ultimately save it.